I still believe the Yankees are going to need Judge to produce somewhat to the level that he has in the regular season to win a World Series. Get through the first round. They've done that already with Judge not doing anything in the postseason. In the ALCS, could they win an American League Championship Series without Judge being at his best? Maybe. I think they have enough around it now with Volpe, with Verdugo, certainly with Juan Soto, and maybe even throwing some others, whether it's Dominguez or Stanton. I think ultimately to win a championship, to win a World Series, you referenced it. In hockey, you need your best players to show up when it matters most. Could you get by a series or two? Sure. But ultimately, to win the Cup, to win an NBA championship, to win a World Series, you need your best players to perform. Yanks are loaded. Judge still needs to perform in the postseason. Otherwise, they're going to fall short. And anything short of a World Series win, to me, is going to be a failure.
Now, again, don't get me wrong. I think Aaron Judge will play well, and I know it's pushing this down so many months, it's almost irresponsible.
Right.
But this is kind of now the story around the Yankees based on how good that they look. We all know that they're going to the playoffs. I want to see him do well. I surmise he'll do well because eventually great players, the more chances you get, eventually you crack through. Bonds had a rough time. A-Rod had a rough time. Eventually they figured things out. Aaron Judge will do the same thing in October. But this is why I was going nuts toward Brian Cashman for years. Because the way the Yankees were built, they were so reliant on Aaron Judge when Aaron Judge didn't do anything because it was really just Stanton who hit pretty well in the postseason a couple times here for the Yankees. The Yankees didn't have a chance to win. These Yankees, and this is what I love about this team, this is what I thought could happen when they reconstructed this roster during the offseason. This Yankee team, to me, reminds me a lot of the 96, 98. I'm not saying they're going to win 1,000. I don't mean it like that in terms of totality of wins, but 1 through 9, it is cyclical, it is seamless, and there's a grinding element with these Yankees that I think is going to, if Judge does have a rough week or two in October, the next guy's going to grab the baton, and they're going to help the Yankees win. It's that simple.
It's more possible or more plausible now, but ultimately still, I mean, a big reason why the Yankees have had this massive success, like they were good without Judge performing at a high level in April, but not this level with Judge performing the way that he did in May. If you take Judge out, not literally take him out of the lineup, but if you take his presence, his dominance in that lineup, the production, if you eliminate that from the Yankees lineup, I think that they're a good team, above average good, but they're not World Series caliber. Now, that's what separates the Yankees from everybody else, at least in the regular season. There's star power with Soto and with Judge. So if you negate that in the playoffs, and generally good pitching in the postseason is king. We'll see what happens, whether it's Baltimore, whether it's Cleveland, who knows. Now, I still think the Yankees are better than both of those teams, but if you're telling me that Judge is not going to break through this postseason, I believe he's got to break through this postseason. Same way we talk about Julius Randle. Obviously, that didn't happen because of the injury. Same way we reference the Rangers now as they fell short. I think Judge needs to break through in this postseason for the Yankees to win a World Series.
It's 10:06 on the fans. PT and Sal, Brandon, Tierney, Sal Licata Show. 888-808-1019, 888-808-1019. I would agree with you more if the Yankee staff was average. Like, then I'd say, okay, all hands on deck. You're going to have to win. Not that there won't be one or two of these, but I think it would be the outlier. 7-6, 6-5. Provided, and again, it's so far down the road, and we've got to see what Garrett Cole looks like not only tonight, but moving forward. How does Luis Gil hold up? All these things matter. Understood, and Gil's pitching tonight. But this Yankees staff is going to put up zeros. And if they put up the amount of zeros, even against the good teams, that I think that they'll put up, I think the margin for error increases. Whereas if Judge doesn't play well, if Judge doesn't hit, then Soto's going to hit. If Soto doesn't hit, well, I could already see it. There's Verdugo with a timely 2-run double. If Verdugo has a rough night, there's Anthony Volpe slicing a triple the other way to score whomever. So Dominguez is on the comeback. I think that this Yankees team, I've said it. It doesn't mean it's going to, obviously come to fruition. It's just my opinion. It's rooted in watching a lot of Yankee teams over every Yankee team, really since about 1981 or so, where I think I kind of know what looks like a World Series team and what they're dependent upon. this team looks like a World Series team, and they don't look like a World Series team because they're a one-man team. They're not.
But I do think they look like a World Series team in large part due to what Judge and Soto are doing. And I know Soto's going to keep doing it. I don't know if Judge is going to be able to do it in the postseason, only because we haven't seen him do it before. If I ask you, before we get to the calls here, I know we want to save the pitching for a little bit later. We'll talk about Cole next level. But if I ask you what's the strength of this Yankees team, what is their identity right now, your answer would be what?
Well, their identity is, the guys at the numbers 1, 2, and 3 taxing opposing staffs.
And that's different than the strength for you?
Well, it is, because honestly, to me, the ultimate strength right now is the Yankee starters go out there and minimally they put up 5 and they put up no runs and they give their offense a chance to get through even though the Yankees strike early sometimes, but even when they don't strike early, the pitching staffs give the Yankee offense a chance to kind of wade into the waters to get things going, to figure out the opposing pitcher and when you have time and there's no stress. Oh, geez, we're down 4-1. It's the third inning. That's when guys start trying to crank 3-run bombs with nobody on base.
But they've done that. Yeah, I mean, this Yankee team, even early on that first week of the year, with Cortez getting behind against the Astros, this Yankee team has come back. Most recent game on Sunday, this Yankee team has come back. For me, that's still ultimately the strength of the New York Yankees. While the pitching has been terrific pretty much from top to bottom, even without Garrett Cole, the strength is that lineup, specifically Judge and Soto. It's not just those two guys. Obviously, that's what makes them different from years past. It's not just relying on homers. It's a deep lineup, a deep team. However, their strength, to me, their greatest strength, Soto, Judge. If half of that is taken away in the postseason, I think it's going to be difficult for the Yankees to win it all.
All right, let's get to you guys here. Again, it's 10:09 on the Fan. BT and Sal, 888-808-1019 is our number inside of our Town Fair Tire studio. Friends at Town Fair reminds you that you always get the guarantee lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. I missed watching them last night. I was bored without my Yankees.
No, you didn't watch the Mets?
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Good God, a 3-hour plus slop fest. We don't need to talk about that here, but good God. They're horrible.
Yeah, we'll get to them a little. I got a question
September
for you.
call-up game with the crappy Nationals.
We got to talk about Vientos later.
Yeah.
I got to honestly get your opinion on something, but right now we're obviously talking Yanks. Milton's in Brooklyn. Milt, what's going on, buddy? BT and Sal, how are you?
What's going on, guys? What's going on?
What's up, Milt?
Listen, it does feel different. It does feel like in the playoffs with Soto here, if Judge doesn't hit, I think Soto could come through. I think this team is definitely just has that buzz, that feel, that confidence. The only thing I wish they would do is figure out how to get rid of Glaber, get rid of DJ, and get rid of Rizzo. Those are the three guys to me. Yeah, it's just that. I just want Sal to know, no matter how many times you say that it's World Series of bust, we're enjoying the ride, Sal. So we're gonna work. I'm gonna get upset that moment when we lose the World Series. If we do, I'll be upset, but I'm not gonna be upset. I'm not gonna think about it. I want to just enjoy this ride. We got Friday night.
You shouldn't.
Fun. Yeah, but he keeps saying World Series of bust.
This is Sal right here. You can talk to me. Yeah, but I don't understand why you have to. Why can't you have both? Like, you can enjoy the season and enjoy every moment as you should as a fan, and also embrace the fact that you should win the World Series. I mean, that's the goal.
No, I know, but it kind of feels like you keep repeating it to make us. You're making it seem like we can't enjoy it. Like
I'm telling you, forget what you think you're hearing. I'm telling you, listen up, enjoy it, Milton.
I am,
and every Yankee fan out there, enjoy the run. Goodness God, stop insinuating or assuming. I'm telling you to your face or to your ear, enjoy this. It also is World Series or bust. End of story. I don't understand what the difference is.
It is World Series or bust, but we are going to enjoy the ride.
Okay,
Thank you, Sal.
But Milt, he's saying that. He's saying that. Listen, if anything, I was the one who was reluctant to embrace the World Series or bust moniker because I'm going back to February. We had this discussion. I didn't know what these Yankees would look like. I said this yesterday. I didn't know what Anthony Volpe 2.0 or Carlos Rodon in New York 2.0 would look like. Then Stanton, pardon me, I thought Stanton was done. We all thought Stanton was done.
Right.
Let's not revise what all of us said. He didn't even look like a professional baseball player. Guess what? He's still pretty viable. Obviously, Garrett Cole goes down. Aaron Judge barely played during the spring. Anthony Rizzo, the remnants from the concussion. There were so many. Dominguez coming back from Tommy John. There were so many things that I thought it was a little early and, quite frankly, a little irresponsible for me to say, oh, all right, just because you got Juan Soto, better win a World Series. No. Chips are in the middle of the table, man. That nobody's running from that at this point.
Right.
But I think that you can still at least try to. I know I am. Simultaneously enjoy the. I know.
Yeah, you have to.
Absolutely. Otherwise, you're missing an amazing show.
Oh my God, we're talking about
Come on.
And this is different than it was a couple years ago, where people started to get caught up, wrongfully so. Oh, this is looking like 98 with the record. No, anybody who's watched baseball can tell the difference between the actual 98 Yankees and the Yankees from a couple years ago. It was an aberration. By the way, what's happening this year, it's not just because of Soto. It's not just because of Verdugo. This is a culmination of a lot of different things, and this is a different team that we've seen even with this core group. It's different. The core is different. The way that they're playing is totally different. So it's not a carryover of the failed Yankees teams of recent years. And I think, BT, when all said and done, if in fact the Yankees do win a World Series, this will be the greatest victory bow Brian Cashman will ever have taken here, because we all were saying the same thing. Yankee fans, first and foremost, front center, fire Cashman this, fire Cashman that. He can't do the job, change everybody. And I was right there with you for certain reasons.
Yeah.
And they stood pat with certain guys that we wanted out of here, standing probably front center with that as well. But they also made key additions, not just getting the big name Soto. Verdugo, a huge piece to the puzzle as well. Even Marcus Stroman, who's done a nice job.
Been phenomenal.
But the Yankees, I didn't think they did enough in the offseason. So far, it looks like they did it just right, and they are a machine right now.
Well, it's interesting because they brought in a few new players. We all know who they are, but the players that are still here, some of them, and you know the names, and they play, but they're less relied upon. Like Gleyber Torres bats 8th or 7th most games. DJ LeMahieu, he's back. Guess what? You ain't batting first. You bat last.
Even Stan and Rizzo are not asked to be relied.
Stanton's not batting fourth.
Right. Those were key. The Yankee season really changed when Verdugo was moved to the cleanup spot. For me, that's when I felt like, wow.
Yeah.
Because remember, we were having this conversation. I said, I trust the first 3.
Yeah, you did.
I trust the bottom 3.
I agreed with you.
The bottom 3 were like not great, but they're serviceable.
Trevino was still banged up.
But 4, 5, 6 with Stanton, Rizzo, the way that was looking, I just didn't love that.
Yeah.
Moving Verdugo, the guy's an absolute dog, to the 4 spot has changed everything. But you're right. I mean, they are built like a different team right now.
Which is why I think they could still win a World Series without Aaron Judge, replicating this incredible, regular season prowess. Let me get John and Danbury. John, they're less reliant upon him. What's going on, Johnny? How are you today? All right, John. John is not ready. John needs to sleep. I will assume that John is doing well. Jeff is on Staten Island. What's happening, Jeff?
Hey, this is Jeff from Staten Island. I just want to say I think Aaron Judge got thrown out might be the reason he slumped.
Say that again?
I think Aaron Judge being tossed out of the game versus the Tigers, that could be coinciding with this slump.
Well, him getting out of the slump you're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, I know some people like to point to that. Since Judge got ejected from the game, he's been on a tear. I do not believe that is the reason for Judge all of a sudden going nuts.
I'm not even sure that. I think that you changed his point. I actually think that he was calling and saying the Judge is in a slump.
Because he got thrown out?
Because he doesn't know what he's talking about. That's what it sounded like.
Well, BT, you know me. I was trying to give the caller the benefit of the doubt there.
Yes.
I was being very kind.
Yeah, I'm happy you did because I didn't know what the hell he was saying.
I'm assuming. I don't really know what he meant. But
no, that was interesting. That's never happened with Judge. It was out of character. I don't. I mean, he got hot.
You think it woke him up a little bit? Like, that could, forget about the direct correlation, but like internally, you're somebody who's struggling, you're trying to figure it out, you've had success before, something happens when you get thrown out of the game, which is uncharacteristic of him.
Oh,
not
my God,
Aaron Boone.
him, forget it.
Right, so that happens, and maybe that's like a wake-up call to be, all right, enough of this crap, I'm going to get back to being me. I mean, maybe there is a correlation to it. You look at some of the numbers, it's hard to argue that.
I'm trying to find out, when was that Tigers series? Early May? What was
May
that?
4th.
Okay.
He got ejected.
That's right, May the 4th be with you, of course.
And then since then, he basically hasn't gotten out, I don't think.
Yeah,
it was May 4th or May 3rd.
Okay, well, whatever.
And he was hitting 200 on that day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what did he do on May 1st and May 2nd? Maybe he had a couple of knocks, so maybe he was actually starting to crank it out before he got the boot.
Well, he was a little bit before that, because I remember we had the conversation. You were saying he's starting to get going. I think that was a little bit before.
That's right. So it's not. Well, now we solved something here. It's not that Aaron Judge got motivated or a little extra urgency or focus because he got booted. Aaron Judge got hot because I told everybody that he was about to.
That was 100% it. Yes, he's listening to you.
So you got to admit the timing was pretty interesting. Will's on Long Island. What's going on, Will?
Hey, guys, thanks for taking my call.
Okay, buddy.
I just wanted to chime in. I firmly believe the Yankees can win the World Series, even if Aaron Judge is not what he is right now. And I think, the key X factor, as you guys said it a little bit earlier, is Alex Verdugo. I think this is a Nick Swisher-esque type of move that the Yankees had in 2009. And Cashman was on that Talking Yanks podcast early in the offseason, and he said to both of them, he says we were using Soto trades as leverage with Boston and Verdugo as leverage with San Diego. And he said, F it, why not just get both? And I think you're seeing the dividend that this move is making. And I think that was, brilliance by Cashman after the years of having Hicks in left field. And I think that's why they struggled. So, in 2022, they were very flawed. Right, you knew Hicks was not going to perform in the postseason.
Right, think about the player. Sorry to cut you off, Will, but think about the player that Brian Cashman. For years, it was, dude, you got to get some lefties. Then he goes out there and gets Rizzo and Joey Gallo. Think about the comparison in players between Gallo and Verdugo. Like, it's not even close. And by the way, the Nick Swisher comparison is a good one.
Yep.
The difference to me is Verdugo's an actual dog. Nick Swisher was a cornball.
I like Swisher.
Yeah.
I liked him. He was good he was really good for that clubhouse. It was you got to remember, Sal. It was old, like Jeter,
to me, it was
Posada.
so phony.
He was necessary. The injection.
Yeah,
of,
I get it.
You want to say he was a little corny, a little good. What I loved Swisher. Swisher
top.
played well, man.
Well, anyway, the point is this is a compliment to Verdugo.
Yeah.
I think I understand the comparison. I think it's a very good one by the caller. Verdugo's better. Cashman nailed it with that move. We knew he was going to be a dog. Like, I know you loved him a lot more than most.
I loved him.
I liked Verdugo. I did not think he was going to be batting cleanup and being one of the integral pieces of this team.
I didn't see that either. But no, his doubles machine, he's a great defensive left fielder, not center. Right. I knew what the Yankees were getting.
Lefty bat, gamer.
Yeah, a little loose wire, just a little bit. It's like the energy. Like, that's the other thing that I loved about the Stroman move, obviously Soto, the Soto move and the Verdugo move. These guys were bringing some energy to a stale situation, man. Stale. The Yankees were boring. I was in the stadium against the Astros in a play. I actually felt like I was at a spring training game, and not even a spring training game for the Yankees, like a spring training game for the A's. It was awful.
ALCS.
God almighty, it was lifeless. And you go back to 2009. Obviously, the Yankees spent $250 million in Teixeira, switch hitting first baseman with Pop, who could pick it, CC Stud, and Burnett, who's really good for the Yankees as well. But they bought those players, and we appreciate that they did because it resulted in a championship. But to your point about Cashman, and I agree, this offseason that he had, the Verdugo trade, the other machinations that weren't as obvious. Stroman had a bad second half. Hey, took a flyer on him 2 years rather than going nuts on some other veteran pitchers that maybe were highly sought after, more so perceptually. He crushed it. And
keeping Luis Heel should not be overlooked as well. All those trades, being able to keep the one guy that's...
It's a very good point. And Clark Schmidt even over Michael King.
That's what I'm saying. He's running... We knock him, and look, there's still reason to believe that there should have been a change just for the sake of... Like, nobody stays at the same job for 30 years in sports.
Lester Francesa, of course.
Nice. In actual sports, not sports talk. I felt they just needed to change just for the sake of change.
Me
not
too.
that Cashman was bad. However... He is showing right now how good of a general manager he is. At least for now, all those moves have turned out to be brilliant.
He's shown that he's adaptable, that he's not that his style is not antiquated. Honestly, that he's able to change as the game changes. He was able to embrace that, look in the mirror, surround himself with some different people, the Manayas, the Sabians, some different, and incorporate different thought. And look where we are. 888-808-1019. BT and Sal here. So the bottom line is this. You'd love to see, Reggie with 3 bombs or A-Rod in 09 or Matsui. The Yankees do not need Judge to be a superhero to win the World Series. They're that good.